Well, yesterday we talked about this Freedom of Information Act. How do you get to make it work? Who's responsible to ensure that you and I know a thing or two about this? And the National Orientation Agency pops up time and again on that one. Both guests we had also made reference to them. But today we've got the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Mr. Michael Mary, joining us from our studios in Abuja. Morning, and thank you for joining us. Well, you know, before now, even now, NOA gets a lot of flack from Nigerians concerning how they think that NOA is not just there. So many things going wrong, but yeah, maybe now they might have seen a thing or two coming from the NOA. But could you bring us up to speed? Functions of NOA, would you say NOA is living up to its billing so far?
Yeah, Chamberlain, thanks and good morning. Since I came in about 11 months ago, the agency has been undergoing a lot of refocusing and expansion of platforms and strengthening of existing ones. Essentially, the agency had gone through a number of challenges. We still do have those challenges, but on assumption of duty, in spite of the enormous challenge in terms of meeting expectations of people and fulfilling its own mandate as established by law, we committed ourselves first to understanding properly the provisions of the law, the powers it gave the agency, and we're able to, by now, situate it within the structure of government and governance. So, essentially, Chamberlain, we have begun by mobilizing our staff, that is, by mobilizing the mobilizers who will take the message to the people. And we have a vision, the DG's vision, that is my vision to turn the agency around, which is to transform the agency itself into a proactive, knowledge-based, and activity-driven organization. So far, so good. We have stayed on course. We have a number of programs that are being implemented. We have program ideas, I mean. I have traveled over 25,000 kilometers since assumption of office across the country. I've met with quite a number of opinion stakeholders and community leaders and so forth and so on. We have collaborated, interagency collaboration with some ministries and departments of government and even some international agencies. Essentially, the fruit of what we have started will be felt more when people generally pay attention to the need for each one of us to begin to do the right things, to put patriotism first in all we do, to love our country, to respect each other, and play by the rules.
If you allow me to comment here, Mr. Omeri, I think the big question here is that, well, I'm one of those lucky Nigerians who would wake up any day and say, I remember MAMSA. But now we're talking about NOA, specifically speaking on this FOI Act, which we talked about yesterday, and seemed to loads and loads of Nigerians that they don't know anything about this act or how to activate it. What is your agency doing about the sensitization of Nigerians specifically on the FOI Act?
Suleiman, the agency would not rush into implementing a program that it does not understand. So since the program, the FOI was signed into act, when I came in, when it became an act, I looked at how best we can publicize it, how we can explain it to the people. And we needed to strategize as a strategist. And so far, we have done our groundwork. We have understood some aspects of it. But we need to train our staff sufficiently so they can know what they have to, they have to explain to the people when they go for public education and mass organization. So fortunately, having packaged this, we have entered into a partnership with the Department for Good Governance of the UNDP. Today, this morning, if I leave here, we're going to commence the training, first phase of the training program for our staff. And the second phase will be in Lagos shortly. Thereafter, they will be deployed into the communities to organize people using one of our platforms that we just created, which is the Community Dialogue Platform. And in addition to that, we are, we have planned to translate the FOI into community languages, so that we break it down for people to understand and adopt it and put to use. So we are working on it. We are alive to our responsibility when it comes to the FOI.
Okay, Mr. Mary, the FOI Act was signed in 2011. So practically 1 year after, are you implying that Nigerians should have waited to be given a proper understanding, should have waited for that act for this whole period because your organization does not understand what the act is about?
Well, you see, it took me, don't forget, I came into this office in, I think, January last year. No, this year. I came into the office this year. And the FOI is not the only issue of concern. There are so many others. And I'm not understating the importance of the FOI to Nigerians or even the process of governance. But we can't give what we don't have. And we need the cooperation of supporting agencies, whether government or private or international, to do the work effectively. We would not go to the communities simply because an act is in town to begin to tell them the wrong things. We need to do the right things.
You know, there are those who think that it's a failing on the part of NOA for the House of Representatives to go on this sensitization concerning the FOI Act. What do you think?
No. It's not a failing. It's not a failing. Don't forget, as a bill, it's been with them for quite a long time. So they knew what they were. It's been there for about 12 years. So many of them had gone through it over and over again. They have been one of those who proposed amendments and so forth and so on over time. So if they chose to do it instead of collaborating with the agency of government establishing for the purpose, I have no objection. But they ought to know that there is an agency of government, and we have reached out to them. Besides, there seem to be, I want to agree with you, yeah, you used to hear of MAMSA and so forth and so on. The NOA was specifically established by government for mass education, public education, and mass mobilization. So every government agency is supposed to take advantage of the NOA platforms. But if at the level of the National Assembly, the House of Reps, they decide to go and engage or take the bill or the act to their constituents, I have no problem with that. The more people doing this, the better, because we do not have monopoly of platforms or even monopoly of the knowledge itself. So it is a good thing that more people are interested and they are talking to constituents. It makes it more easier and helps our work.